Okay, students. So now I am going to discuss with you all the structure and function of the human ear. So you all know why we use human ear or the ear for hearing. So that is the audio sensory organ of the body. Audio sensory organ of the body is the ear. So when we say audio sensory organ, it receives the sound energy or what we call as the acoustic energy that is received by the sensory organ ear, and from there information is taken to the brain where we understand what another person is talking or what type of noise is there or the music, whatever the sound is, we can interpret it and understand it because the information from the ear is taken to the brain. So as you already know, always the sensory organs are connected to the brain. So here, to start off the lesson, we are going to do an activity where we observe the structure of the ear. So if you do it in the lab, in the school laboratory, you all know there is a physical model like this. A model of an ear where you can look at the structures, you can take it apart, you can look at all the structures inside it. So then you can fix it again. So you can understand the structure and the functions of all these parts. So that's a very simple activity. I will move on to the next slide where we just discuss the method. Observe the model or the diagram well. So if you have a model, as I told you, you can take it apart and observe all the structures inside it. Otherwise, if you just have a chart which has the diagram of an ear, then you can look at the parts and try to identify. Identify the parts of the human ear. And to understand and name the parts, get the help of a name diagram of the human ear. So this is for your school laboratory. Either look at a model or the diagram. But here, as you know, we are learning online. So what do I normally use? I use the anatomy software to explain the structure. So the same now also we will go to the anatomy software and observe the structure of the ear. Okay, students. So now we are going to observe the structure of an ear. Now you all know our ears, we have the ear lobes. They are known as external ear lobes, and you know mammals have external ear lobes. That's a feature of mammals. So we also have that. So can you identify the ear lobe here? Can you see? Now this part is the earlobe. Another name given for earlobe is the pinna. So this part is known as the pinna. Now from this, now you can see if the sound waves are coming this way. When I am speaking to you, you can listen to me. So the sound waves are coming towards your ear, and the earlobe, this part, directs the sound wave into the ear. So you can see this cleft-like structure, and then from this earlobe, you can see this canal. This is known as the external auditory canal. So, earlobe directs the sound waves into the ear, and sound waves are transmitted through this external auditory canal. And at the end of the external auditory canal, you can see here, students, there is a speaker-like structure, a membrane-like structure that is known as the tympanic membrane or the eardrum. So, these three structures, students, the earlobe or the pinna, external auditory canal, and the tympanic membrane, which is known as the eardrum, all of them belong to the outer ear. Then there is the middle ear. Now, in this, if you look at the structure closely, you can see here, students, there are ossicles. These are like bones, small bones, which are known as the ossicles. And there are three bones, the malleus, incus, and the stapes. So these three bones and this part, this is known as the eustachian tube. Those two come under the middle ear. Then after that, you can see here these bones, Now I said there are 3 ossicles and they are connected to this part which looks like a snail. Can you see that structure? Here you can see it's like a curl spiral like structure, something similar to a snail shell. That's the cochlea. So that cochlea is then connected to the auditory nerve. You can see that as well. The cochlea is connected to the auditory nerve, and on this side here you can see these are half circle like structures. These 3 structures. Those are the semicircular canals. So the semicircular canals, cochlea and the auditory nerve, they all belong to the inner ear. So outer ear, pinna, external auditory canal and the tympanic membrane. The middle ear, the ossicles as well as the eustachian tube. And the inner ear, the cochlea, semicircular canals and the optic nerve. So can you all understand the structure now? So what happens? The sound waves come towards your ear. The earlobe directs the sound into the ear, and then there is air filled inside the external auditory canal. Due to the vibration of air particles, the sound is transmitted through the external auditory canal to the tympanic membrane, and thereafter tympanic membrane vibrates, transmitting the sound waves to the ossicles. And there are 3 ossicles as I said, malleus, incus and stapes. When they vibrate, the vibration of the sound is transmitted to the cochlea, and from there the sound information or the stimulus of sound is given to the auditory nerve that is connected with the cochlea, and the sound is carried to the brain. Information is taken to the brain where the auditory part of the brain interprets the sound. And here I said there is the eustachian tube that has a different function. It's involved with the balancing of pressure on either side of the membrane, on this side and inside of the membrane. And also the semicircular canals is involved with the balance of the body. So there are 2 parts of the ear that are not directly involved in hearing, but they have other functions. That is the eustachian tube and the semicircular canals. So just to make it clear for you all, I will show you all this part. So here I'm showing you all part of the ear. Can you see the eardrum or the tympanic membrane here? That is something similar to a speaker. You all have seen that. So here this vibrates, and the vibration of the tympanic membrane is transmitted to the ossicles. I told you all there are 3 ossicles there, and here you can see the ossicles are connected to the cochlea. Then the cochlea vibrates, and that is again connected to the auditory nerve. So is it clear to you all now, students? All the parts of the ear or the structure of the ear. So you can understand there are 3 main parts: the outer ear, middle ear and the inner ear. And under that there are different structures. So I am sure you have understood the structures of the ear, as well as now you know how sound is transmitted from outside into the ear and how information of the sound is taken to the brain. So with that, we will go back to the slide. Okay, students. So now that you have understood the structures of the ear, now we will move on to the next slide. Here a diagram of the human ear is given to you. So you all can remember I told you all the human ear is divided into 3 parts. So this part which has the earlobe or the pinna, external auditory canal and the tympanic membrane is the outer ear. So this is the outer ear. Then here these 2, the ossicles and the eustachian tube, that is the middle ear. Middle ear. And inside where you have the semicircular canals, cochlea and the auditory nerve, that is the inner ear. Is that okay? So then we will label all the structures there. What is this part? This is the external earlobe, or we can just write it as earlobe, or pinna. You have to remember both the names, students, earlobe or pinna. Then that is connected to the external auditory canal. That is this part. Then that ends with the tympanic membrane. Tympanic membrane, that is commonly known as the eardrum. Then after that, there are the 3 ossicles. Then what are these? These are the semicircular canals. Then here we have the cochlea. And this is the auditory nerve. So can you all understand the parts of the ear now? This part, earlobe or pinna, external auditory canal and the tympanic membrane belong to the outer ear. Then the ossicles and the eustachian tube. This part is the eustachian tube. Eustachian tube belong to the middle ear. Then the semicircular canals, cochlea and the auditory nerve belong to the inner ear. So if you are given a diagram, you should be able to identify the parts and you have to understand the functions of all these parts. That is what we are going to discuss next. So information about the major parts of the human ear are given to you as a table. In that, first we have the outer ear. So here we have the outer ear. In the outer ear, you can remember I told you all there are 3 parts, students. What are those 3 parts? First one is the ear lobe or the pinna. So here this is going to be the ear lobe or pinna. Now if you take this earlobe, now you have the bones in your hands. Can you bend it? Is it flexible? You can bend your fingers where there are joints, but you can't bend the bones. But if you take your earlobe, you can bend it. You can fold it like this. You can cover it. You can turn it. So that is possible. The reason is the earlobe is a cartilaginous structure or organ. A cartilaginous organ. Now bones and cartilages, they belong to the skeletal system. But the cartilages are flexible. So that is why you are able to fold your ears. Not that you have to do it every time, but that is a flexible structure. So it's a cartilaginous organ. And it directs sound waves towards the auditory canal. So here in your ears, earlobe, we have the external earlobe, and in the middle, this part, we have the external auditory canal. You saw it extending up to the tympanic membrane. So the second structure is the external auditory canal. So that is the structure that directs the sound to the tympanic membrane. So you can remember the tympanic membrane. That is the membrane-like structure. I told you all, like a speaker-like structure. So the next one is the tympanic membrane. So the tympanic membrane, it vibrates in response to the sound wave and acquires the auditory senses. I have explained this to you all before also. I am telling it again. So the earlobe directs the sound into the external auditory canal. External auditory canal carries the sound or directs the sound to the tympanic membrane, and then the tympanic membrane vibrates according to the sound wave. So you can remember that. There was the earlobe like this, then the external auditory canal, and here we had this membrane-like structure, that was the tympanic membrane. Those three belong to the external ear. Then we have the middle ear. So here this part is the middle ear. Middle ear. What are the structures present in the middle ear? The ossicles and the eustachian tube. So here we have the ossicles. Ossicles, there are three bones named malleus, incus and stapes. You have to remember the three names, students. You don't have to identify them separately, but you should know the names and you should remember there are three bones. And they transmit sound-related vibration to the cochlea. So they receive the vibration from the tympanic membrane and they are connected to the tympanic membrane. So they transmit the sound to the cochlea. So then what do we have after that? It is the eustachian tube. Now, is this eustachian tube related to transmission of sound? No. They are related to maintaining pressure on either side of the tympanic membrane. So, this is an open tube connected to pharynx. What is the pharynx? Now, here the throat part, there is a tube-like structure that is part of the respiratory system, that is called the pharynx. Now, students, you can remember, we call some doctors as ENT doctors. Ear, nose and throat. The reason is your ear, nose and throat are connected together. So, nose is part of the respiratory system, pharynx is part of the respiratory system. The pharynx is connected to the ear. So, ear, nose and throat. That is why ENT. So, the eustachian tube opens into the pharynx, controls the pressure on either side of the tympanic membrane. Is that clear to you all? Now, this is the reason sometimes for some people when they travel in an aeroplane, when the aeroplane either takes off or lands down, there is a difference in pressure in the external environment. Due to that, there is a difference in pressure inside the ear. Before the eustachian tube could balance it, you feel a pain. So, that is why they tell you to eat like chew a chewing gum or do a motion like chewing something so that the pressure gets balanced. For that, the eustachian tube that is connected to the throat balances the pressure. So, if the pressure is not balanced, you get a pain. The same thing when someone is deep sea diving. Without proper equipment, if you do deep sea diving, then also there can be pressure difference. Due to that, the ear can get damaged. So, you all have to be careful. Again, you have to look after the health of your ear. So, for that, the eustachian tube is involved with the controlling of pressure on either side of the tympanic membrane. So, those two structures belong to the middle ear. Then we have the inner ear. Inner ear. In the inner ear, the first structure is the cochlea. The nerve endings of the auditory nerve is connected to cochlea. So, from the stapes, malleus, incus, the three ossicles, the vibration is transmitted to the cochlea. Cochlea is connected to the nerve endings of the auditory nerve. So, the information or the transmit auditory sensors to the auditory nerve. That's an important term. The information, that is the auditory sensors, is transmitted to the auditory nerve by the cochlea. Then after that, the auditory nerve. Auditory nerve take auditory sensors to the relevant part of the brain. And that sound is interpreted by the relevant part of the brain. Is that clear to you all, students? So, the next part of the inner ear is the semicircular canal. semicircular canal. So this again is a structure that is not involved in hearing. This is involved in balance of the body. Contribute to maintain the balance of the body. So you have to remember that, students. The semicircular canals. Why did we call them semicircular? They were like this, something like this, semicircular canals. So those three semicircular canals, they are at an angle to each other. I have just shown it diagrammatically. There is a fluid inside and they are involved in the maintaining of balance of the body. That is why when someone gets hit in their ear, or if there is a large sound, due to that, the fluid inside the semicircular canal can get disturbed. Because of that, you can lose your balance. So you have to be careful. That is why they say not to hit anyone in the ear. You have to be careful with that. So I'm sure now you have understood the functions of all the parts. The three parts, outer ear, middle ear and the inner ear. Outer ear has the earlobe or pinna, external auditory canal and the tympanic membrane, which is known as the eardrum. Then the middle ear has the ossicles and the eustachian tube, and the inner ear has the semicircular canals, the cochlea and the auditory nerve. And out of those, semicircular canal and eustachian tube have different functions. All the other parts, all the other structures are involved with transmission of sound from the external environment into the ear to the auditory nerve, so that information is carried to the brain. So with that, I will move on to the next slide. So let us see how the ear perceives auditory senses. So I explained to you all how we receive the sound, how it's directed into the ear and how we hear the sound. Now we'll do this activity to understand that. So to do that, we need two funnels, plastic funnels as you can see. Then we need a balloon membrane or the balloon sheath, we can say balloon membrane. Then we need a rubber tube, and the rubber tube has to be about 2 meters in length. Here what we have shown is a normal rubber tube. It can be like a small thin hose tube. Any type of rubber tube is okay. Then we need thread and we need a tuning fork. Now you know the function of a tuning fork. This is a Y-shaped steel structure that can be vibrated. Normally there is a cork there. With this we get a cork-like structure. We tap the tuning fork on that cork and it starts to vibrate. And there are different tuning forks with different frequency, similar to the notes, like the musical notes with different frequency like A, B, C, D. Here also we have different tuning forks. So you can use any one of the tuning fork, that is okay. So those are the materials. We need two funnels, a balloon membrane, rubber tube, thread and tuning fork. Along with that we will get the rubber, the cork as well. So we'll see how we are going to do this activity. This is what we do. Now this is the setup we have to make. Here you can see the rubber tube and the funnel there, and here also there is another funnel, and this funnel we have to cover with balloon membrane or balloon sheath. Right. So what we are going to do is we will have one funnel there. The rubber tube is connected, one end is connected to this funnel, the other end is connected to the second funnel, and that funnel is covered with the rubber membrane, and we have to make sure the rubber membrane is stretched and covered, and we have to tie the thread around it so that it doesn't come off. Then after that, what we do is we get a student to stay on one side and let him or her to hold the funnel that is covered with the rubber membrane near the ear. You don't touch the ear, but you hold it somewhere near your ear, not very far, not too close, somewhere close. So then what we do is on this other side, we vibrate the tuning fork and hold it near this funnel. So when you vibrate and hold the tuning fork near your ear also, you can hear a slight sound, a ringing sound. So the same sound will be transmitted through this tube. So here, due to the vibration of the tuning fork, the air around it will vibrate. That will generate the sound waves, and those waves will travel through the tube, and here the balloon membrane will start vibrating, and that vibration will be heard clearly by the child. So tighten well the balloon sheath. So as I told you, we can write it as balloon membrane or balloon sheath to the mouth of a funnel. Join the two funnels to the open ends of the 2-meter length rubber tube. Keep the funnel with the balloon sheath to one of the student's ear. Vibrate the tuning fork near the other funnel. Students, there is a mistake in printing here. It has to be tuning fork, F-O-R-K. This fork means people, but here we are using this tuning fork. Tuning fork. So report your observation. So once you do this activity, I have explained it to you all clearly. You have to report the observation. What happens? So now I will move on to the observations. So the observation will be that the child hears the sound better, and we are just trying to understand how sound is transmitted. So the conclusion. The sound is transmitted through air inside the rubber tube to the ear. So sound is directed into the first funnel and transmitted through the air inside the rubber tube. It is transmitted to the brain through the parts of the ear, that is inside our ears. So that is inside the ear. Then brain interprets the sound. That is important. Although we get the sound sense, auditory sense, the brain is the organ that interprets the sound. The child understands the sound. So when the sound is interpreted only, you can understand the sound. I am sure you can understand this process clearly. So with that, I will move on to the next slide. So again, the same thing is explained to you all when the fork. So here also students, like I told you all, this should be tuning fork. There is a printing mistake in your textbook also. It has to be fork. So when the tuning fork is vibrated, the rubber sheath vibrates. Sound travels through the rubber tube to the ear, and the child hears the sound better. Is that okay? So then the sound waves travel to tympanic membrane along the external auditory canal. So this is the path of the sound waves. The tympanic membrane is vibrated accordingly, and the vibrations are then transmitted to cochlea through ossicles. So the path. The nerve endings connected to the cochlea take the auditory senses to the auditory nerve, and the auditory nerve transmits the impulse to the relevant part of the brain. And the sound is interpreted by the auditory area of the brain. So you all can remember that, student. So if you are asked to write the path in which sound travels from the external environment to the brain until it is interpreted, what are you supposed to write? Now you all have an understanding. In the next slide, I have shown the path. So sound produced in the environment, it is directed to the earlobe, and earlobe directs the sound into the ear, and that is directed into the external auditory canal. That again is given to the tympanic membrane. Then from there, the ossicle starts vibrating. From there, it is transmitted to the cochlea, and then the auditory nerve carries the auditory sensors to the brain. So, this is the path of sound. Path of sound until it is interpreted by the brain. Is that clear to you all now? So, with that, I will move on to the next topic where we discuss the defects in the ear. So, defects of ear. Again, disorders may occur in ears while living or from birth. So, two things that you have to remember. From birth, you might have a defect that of course you can't help it. While living also, due to certain reasons which is out of your control, there can be a problem to your ear and defect can occur. That also you can't do anything, but you still can maintain the health of the ear. So, before we go to that part, we will try to understand the defects of ear. The first one is impaired hearing. Now, normally a person who can hear well initially has a very healthy ear, so they can hear very well. But due to certain reasons, maybe age or other factors, little by little they can lose the ability to hear. That is impaired hearing. And that can be caused to both the ears, or it can be just one ear. It can be a sudden change, or it can occur gradually. That is impaired hearing. You can hear but not very clearly or not that enough, like that there can be a problem. Then deafness. Deafness is a situation where you can't hear at all. So that again can be a genetic thing or it can occur during the lifetime. So deafness, completely you lose hearing. Then hardening of ossicles is another problem. You all know what the ossicles are? Malleus, incus and stapes, the three bones. Especially the malleus becomes hardened and it becomes stiff, it cannot vibrate. So, because of that, you cannot hear. So, that is also another problem, a defect of the ear. It is also said that people who are deaf from birth, now deaf from birth are dumb too. Now, normally, students, you should be very sympathetic, empathetic towards people who have disorders, and you are familiar with people who are deaf and dumb. So, normally when a person is deaf at birth, they can be dumb as well. So, that means they can't hear, they can't talk. Hearing aids can be used as a remedy for loss of hearing. Hearing aids. Now, that again depends on the situation or the condition of the ear. So, if it is due to age or due to some disease, little by little, if you have an impaired hearing, you can't hear clearly, then you can use a hearing aid. Or sometimes if there is some other problem with the ear, that also can be rectified by using a hearing aid. So, there you fix a machine that helps you to transmit the sound waves to the brain. So, therefore, you can hear. Sometimes without even using the ear, the hearing aid will receive the sound and directly transmit it to the brain. That advanced technology is also there. So, using that, you can rectify problems or defects of the ear to a very large extent. Are you all clear with that now? So, impaired hearing, deafness, hardening of ossicles. All these are diseases or defects related to the ear. You have to understand that. And normally, when you are working in an environment where there is very loud noise, say a construction site or an industry where there are heavy machinery working and there's a lot of sound generated throughout the time. So, throughout the day, you will be listening to very loud sound. That can cause problems to your ear, to your hearing. The same way, if you are exposed to a very loud noise all of a sudden, maybe an explosion or firecrackers, jet engine, like that, if you are exposed to very, very loud sound, that all of a sudden can lead to a problem, especially the eardrum. The tympanic membrane can be burst. It can burst. There can be a hole in the tympanic membrane created due to a very loud noise. The same way, if you insert objects into the ear, that can damage your tympanic membrane or any part of the ear. That also can cause problems. Some medicines can lead to hearing impairments. So, like that, there are many factors that can cause defects of the ear. So, you have to remember those, students. Then with that, we move on to the next topic where we discuss hearing range. The audibility range of the human ear is given as 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. Now, when we say Hertz, that is the frequency of sound. Now, sound waves are there with different frequencies. So, we can hear sound that has frequency between 20 Hz and 20,000 Hz. You're familiar with other animals that can hear sound less than this, frequency less than 20 Hz, frequency more than 20,000 Hz. Those are the other animals. But us, humans, our audibility range is between 20 Hz and 20,000 Hz. And then, although we hear this frequency of sound, the intensity of sound. Now, you all know some people talk very softly. So, it's a less noise, less sound. But some people, their voice is very loud. So, the sound intensity is high. As I discussed before, heavy machinery, construction site, jet engines, all these have very loud sound. So, the intensity, although it belongs to this range, the audible range, the intensity of the sound is very, very high. And that also has a range. Now, there is a range up to which our ear can tolerate. If the intensity is more than that, if we are exposed to very loud sound for a longer period of time or suddenly a very, very loud sound, then there can be damage caused to the ear. So, ear can tolerate only a limited intensity of sound in this range. And sounds beyond this range can damage the ear. Is that clear to you all now? So, normal talking, listening to music, watching movies, classroom, all the noise during the interval, all those are noises or sound that is tolerable to our ear. But very heavy noise, very intense noise can harm our ear. So, you have to understand that. With that, I will move on to the next slide where we discuss necessary precautions that should be taken to protect the ear. So, here again, avoid inserting foreign objects into the ear. Now, you all are familiar with earbuds. Normally, we are supposed to clean the ear with the earbud. But do you insert it into the ear? No. You can just clean the earlobe, the outside of the earlobe, behind the earlobe. And you would have seen sometimes for small babies, their parents or the person who is taking care of the baby cleans the ear. But there also, they have to be very careful. They should not insert the earbud into the ear. The same way you have seen an instrument which is used to remove wax from the ear. That is a sharp object. Even inserting that into the ear can sometimes harm the ear. So, you have to be very, very careful not to insert any sharp objects into the ear. Avoid inserting foreign objects into the ear. So, as I said, not only sharp objects, any foreign objects. So, avoid inserting foreign objects into the ear, especially that cotton bud, because sometimes inside the ear, little bit of the cotton can remain inside the ear, the bud can come off, so that can cause a lot of problems. So, you have to be very careful. Refrain exposing to loud noise. Now, some of y'all have this habit of listening to very, very loud music. Music is good, it's soothing for y'all. But if you listen to very loud music for a long period of time, that can cause problems to the ear. So, you should not, or you should refrain being exposed to loud noises. Not only loud music, even other noises. But as I said, due to occupation, due to your profession, if you are supposed to be in an environment where there is high amount of sound, then you have to take precautions. That's very, very important. Do not put any medicines for the ear without medical advice. So, without medical advice, anyhow, you are not supposed to use medicines without medical advice. Especially putting anything into the ear is not at all advisable. So, you have to refrain from that. Avoid diving in deep waters without wearing safety equipment. So, if you have safety equipment, if you take all the safety measures, if you are trained to dive, then no problem. But without that, if you just dive due to the high pressure, now under water, when you go deeper inside, the pressure increases. So, due to that pressure, you all know the eustachian tube that balances the pressure. So, due to a pressure difference, sometimes there can be a problem caused to your ear. So, you have to be careful. Avoid diving in deep waters without wearing safety equipments. That's the important thing. You can dive, but not without safety equipment. Then avoid slapping the ear and dragging by the earlobe. This I told you all before also. Sometimes the eardrum, the tympanic membrane can get damaged if someone slaps another person in the ear. Due to that force, the tympanic membrane can get ruptured. Then the person can lose their hearing. So, you have to be careful. Avoid slapping the ear and dragging by the earlobe. So, these are all methods or necessary precautions that should be taken to protect the ear. So, I am sure you all can understand all these. So, with that, I will move on to the next slide. Here, there is an assignment given to you. Using suitable materials, make a model of a stethoscope. So, you all know what a stethoscope is. This is used by doctors, medical personnel to listen to the heartbeat. So, what do? They insert one part of the stethoscope, this part into the ear, and the other end is kept near the heart so that they can listen to the heartbeat, the rhythm very clearly. So, in order to diagnose diseases, doctors do that. So, what they want you to do is, they want you to make a model of a stethoscope. So, that is a simple structure. Here, it looks simple. Normally, the medical ones are somewhat very sophisticated, but here you can make a simple model. Sometimes you get these toys also. For small children, they have these medical sets. They have these toy stethoscope as well. So, here you have to make a model. For that, just a simple way, you can use a small tube like that. A small tube like that. And this part has to be inserted into your ear. So, you have to make sure this part is made soft. But at the same time, you have to make sure you don't fix anything that will get into your ear and that can cause damages. That has to be made sure. You have to make sure that you don't use anything like that. So, make it soft. Maybe like you can even use something from the earphones that you can insert without causing any damage to the ear. That can be used at this part. So, that's up to you all. So, maybe a rubber tube like this. Then you might have to put a slit here and connect another rubber tube. This again has to be a very flexible tube. And at this end, you can connect a very tiny funnel. Here you can use a funnel. And like we did in the activity, you can use a balloon membrane or balloon sheath. So that part is what is used to keep on the chest. So, like this, you can make a simple stethoscope. Now this is just what I explained to you all. You all are very, very creative, very innovative. You can use many different materials and make a very fine stethoscope. After that, you can listen to the heartbeat of a person. You can listen to some other sound. So, but the main purpose of the stethoscope is to listen to the heartbeat. So, I am sure you can make a model like this. With that, I will move on to the next slide, where again another assignment is given. Prepare 10 short questions on eye and ear to conduct a quiz competition. So, you all are familiar with quizzes. You all like to do quizzes. You have 2 teams. Each team prepares 10 questions and one team asks the question from the other. And you put the points and you find the winner. So, that's a very simple thing. Here, what they want you to do is make 10 short questions. That you have to remember. When it is a quiz, you can't give a long question and question that has a long answer. It has to be short answers. For example, you can ask, write the 3 main parts of the ear. Outer ear, middle ear and inner ear. Something like that. What type of lens is present in the eye? So, the answer will be a biconvex lens. So, like that you can ask very short questions that have short answers. So, like that you can prepare questions and have a quiz competition. So, those are assignments that you have to do either by yourself or in school in groups. With that, I will move on to the next slide. Again here, there is an extra knowledge. A chart is given to you. We have discussed before also. Now, our audible range is between 20 to 20,000 Hertz. That's the frequency. But I told you all students, there is the intensity of sound. This intensity of sound is measured in decibels. Is that name familiar to you? Decibel. Why do we say bell? That is to honor Alexander Graham Bell, who invented the telephone. So, his name is used for the unit that is used to measure the intensity of sound, decibels. And it is written as simple D and capital B. So, decibel is denoted as simple D, capital B, decibel. I am sure you are familiar with this, but I am just giving it to you to recall your memory. So, that is the unit. So, this chart, this scale gives you an indication of the amount or intensity of sound. You start from here. Here you can see noise level. This part is labeled as noise. It starts from 0. 0 means no noise at all. So, that means absolute silence, complete silence. Then, if you go up, you can see the first stage, this as woodland, like a forest. Inside the forest, there is noise about between 10 to 20 decibel. So, it's somewhat very quiet, not noisy at all. It's very, very quiet. There will be slight sound heard. Then after that, you go to the bedroom. Now, between 20 and 30 decibels. Normally, in the bedroom, you all go to sleep. So, there you don't make a lot of noise. So, there also it is soft noise or very low amount of noise. Then in the living room, you can see about 40 decibel. Normally living room, you are living there, lively there. So, you are going to talk with each other. There is going to be lot of sound, but unlike a classroom, living room usually has only the family members or the relatives or visitors with them. So, there are a certain amount of sound, usually 40 or it can even go up to 50 if you are talking very animated. Thereafter, you can see conversational speech. Normally, conversing with other people's speech where you want someone to listen to you clearly. Now, I am talking to you all, I am talking in a somewhat loud voice. So, there the sound can be about 60 decibel. Thereafter, the business office is between 60 and 70. There are a lot of professionals working together. They want to make their point. They have to converse with each other. So, they do make a certain amount of noise. So, the intensity between 60 and 70. But here see, now the color is changing. From blue, it was very soft or no noise at all. Green is the comfortable sound, the normal sound in your environment that you can tolerate. Now, can see the color change? Can you all see that? It's becoming yellow, somewhat high intensity, above 70 decibels. So, this part, 80 street traffic and 90 heavy truck. That you are familiar with. Normally, when there's a lot of traffic on the road, vehicles, the normal vehicles, the sound is less. But compared to that, when there are heavy vehicles going, the sound is more. So, 80-90 decibels. Then when you go to this part, live rock music, that's about 100 decibels. So, there they use the amplifiers, they make the sound very loud so a large crowd can listen to it. You can listen to that for only a short period of time. But if you keep on listening to it, then that also can cause problems to your ear. That's because it's a very, very loud sound. Then after that, the jackhammer. What is the jackhammer? The hammer that they use to make holes on the road, on the over the tarred road. If they want to dig a hole, they use the jackhammer. That generates lot of noise. That's about 110 decibels. So that's even more than the live rock music sound. So that can be very dangerous to your ear. So the people who are working there, they have to make sure they take precaution. They will have to cover their ears when they are using that instrument. So that's how you take care of your ear. Above that, now here can you see the color change? It's becoming red. So sound that can cause harm or pain to the ear. So there you can see threshold of pain, that is near 130 they have written. So that means your ear will feel pain. That is threshold of. Threshold means the minimum amount that can bring a change. So the sound that can bring a change, that can cause an effect in your ear. Threshold of pain. So above 110 itself, it's somewhat dangerous. But when you go to 140, the jet engine, I mentioned that before also, that generates a very loud sound. You would have seen people working in the airport who are directing the jets or aeroplanes. They mostly wear these earphones, like the headphones around them, for protection. So those are for the protection of the ear. So that is to protect their ear from the sound level. So that's very high sound. That cannot be tolerated by the ear. So that can lead to threshold of pain. So although this is for extra knowledge students, you have to understand, now this is something that is related to us, relevant to us, because we have our ears, we need to protect it. We have to maintain it healthily. So to do that, we should have an understanding about the amount of noise or the intensity of sound, so that we can avoid loud sound and maintain the health of our ear. So with that students, I have completed the lesson. So next, I am going to move on to the summary. Summary. Optical sensory organ of the body is the eye. So optical sensory organ, eye. That is one of the sensory organs. Images that are real, inverted and smaller than the object formed on the retina are interpreted by the brain. So we have discussed the full process completely. You have drawn ray diagrams, so you can remember the nature, the properties of the image as well as where it is formed. This is known as vision. So here we are summarizing all the terms. Binocular vision of human is important to determine the distance of an object, and stereoscopic vision. So you all know some animals, especially us, we have a very wide range of binocular vision which leads to stereoscopic vision. The most common defects of vision are long sight and short sight. Long sight, you can see far objects clearly, close objects are not very clear. Whereas in short sight, you see the close objects clearly, but far objects look blurred. Long sight can be corrected using a convex lens. Again, you know it is the meniscus convex lens, while short sight can be corrected by using concave lens. So that also a meniscus concave lens. Most frequent eye diseases at present are cataract and glaucoma. So the two common diseases we discussed, that cataract due to denaturing of protein glaucoma due to high blood pressure in the eye. The optic nerve gets damaged and that leads to glaucoma, reduced vision. To maintain a healthy vision for a long period of time, necessary precautions should be taken to protect the eye. So, you have to protect your eye. Audio sensory organ of the body is the ear. Audio sensory organ is the ear. Then I will move on to the next part. Sound waves vibrate the tympanic membrane and the cochlea in the ear. So, you know the path of the sound, how it travels through the ear. This results the stimulation of the nerve endings at the cochlea. This auditory impulse is carried to the brain by the auditory nerve and the relevant part of the brain interpret the sound. This is known as hearing. So, you know the path. The earlobe directs the sound into the ear, then it travels through the external auditory canal, then the tympanic membrane vibrates, from there it is the ossicles, then the cochlea, and from the cochlea to the auditory nerve. Finally, it takes the information to the brain. The semicircular canals, so this is a structure present in the eye. The semicircular canals contribute to maintain the balance of the body. So, I told you all two structures. One of those is the semicircular canal that is not involved in the hearing process, but it is involved in balance of the body. The same way, you can remember the eustachian canal that helps to balance the pressure on either side of the tympanic membrane. Hardening of ossicles, impaired hearing and deafness are some disorders of hearing. The range of audibility of the human ear. Range of audibility. The sound that we can hear is between 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. That is the sound that can be heard by the human ear. The sounds of higher intensities may damage the ear. Necessary precautions must be followed to protect the ear that we have discussed. So, with that, students, I have completed the lesson. First, we discussed the structure of the eye, then how images are formed in the eye, defects of the eye, how we can correct it, and you know to draw ray diagrams. We have done activities, you have understood all that. Then the diseases of the eye as well as the infection caused to the eye. After that, I discussed the ear, the structure of the ear and the functions as well as defects of the ear. So, with that, I have completed the lesson. I am sure you all know how the visual sensory organ eye and the auditory sensory organ ear functions in our body and how they are important and how we should take care or maintain the health of these two organs. So, with that, we have finished the lesson. Next, we will have to discuss questions. First, I will start off with the questions in the textbook in the next chapter.